Ooh. Okay, now y'all can see everybody. But I can't really see y'all. All right, we're gonna have to work with this. We're gonna have to work with it. Let me get my water ready. I see 4 people on the live. Welcome to Talks with MEESHEE. I mean, we're still working on the name, but I feel good about this name. What do y'all think? Do y'all feel good about it? I feel good about it. Good morning. Happy Sunday. Bendiciones. I'm going to squeeze a little lemon in my water today because I feel like I need to alkaline my gut because my tongue is not pink. So I would like to start off my talk shows with a random thought of the day. So this morning I had a random thought, right? So let's just say a man has gingivitis, right? And he's eating outchanana. Could you get a yeast infection from that? So that's like my random thought of the day. Let me know in the comments down below if you have like any experience or you have any answers for my random thought of the day. And you guys can let me know what are your random thoughts of the day, right? Also, I want to do a segment where I get to answer some of my audience members' questions in the comments on my talk show. So do you want me to do a little bit of that now and then get into my story time? Or do you want me to do it after my story time? Because, you know, this is the first episode. This is almost like the pilot episode. So when I pitch this to like HBO or I pitch this to like, I don't know, like E-Network or whatever type of agency I'm trying to pitch this to, right? I need to show them a portfolio. So this is going to be the pilot episode. This is very interactive, so I need y'all. So afterwards, okay, let's get a poll. Poll from the audience, poll from the House of Illness. I need a gauntlet, or not a gauntlet. It's a gavel, a gavel. I need a gavel. You want the questions after the story time or before the story time? First, answer the Q&As. I need more interaction. I need to see. Story time before. Okay, that's half and half. Before. After. Hi. Love story time. After. Okay. Give me a couple more. After. Story time first. Okay. After. Before. Okay, so it looks like the consensus right now is afterwards. So let's get into the story time. So basically on TikTok, I was trying to share a story time about this time that I was like, I was hanging off of somebody's window in the projects. So I really had to condense it, but the story was more deeper than what I let on to be. And I really couldn't express it on TikTok. That's why I'm like, yo, if y'all really want to know about the story, I'm going to tell y'all. So boom. Basically, if you're not familiar with the area, let's go, before we get into that, let's talk about the outfit. Today is the first day, so I wanted to give you sort of like preppy, sporty, comfortable, you know, the moon boots. And look, let's go over the castmate. So we have Benji. This is Grumpy Bear, so he represents all the haters. And then there's Tuxedo Mask. There is Sailor Moon. Christy is over here, and she is feeling some type of way, but we're not going to talk about that. And then, who is she? Who is she? Tramposa. Tramposa. We don't even know who she is. Una chapeadora. Una chapeadora. And then this is Fireman John. Of course we know. And is he not cold? Is he not cold? And then Harvey. Nomi. She's over it. And then Amir. Wow. And if y'all can't believe it, there's 3 more cast members that y'all have not met in the House of Illness. Yo, when I tell you the stories get juicy and the drama is real, you don't even know. You don't even know. You do not even know. So let's go straight into the story time. So a little bit about me and things that are necessary for you to understand about the story so it can make sense is that I'm from Brownsville, Brooklyn. If you're familiar with Brownsville, Brooklyn in New York, that's basically just a whole plot of area in Brooklyn that's all projects. So if you're not familiar with that sort of culture, it's sort of weird. Like, how do I explain to you how it feels to grow up in the projects, especially when I grew up in the projects? I grew up in the projects in the 90s. In the 90s. So it was way different back then. So it was like a different culture. Like, you didn't really talk about like streets. You'd be like, okay, so I'm gonna meet you at the White Park, or I'm gonna meet you at Tilden, or I'm gonna meet you at Howard. Like, like if you had to know where you were at in order for you to understand the lingo. Like, it's just like a different culture, you know what I'm saying? So I grew up like that. I grew up in the projects, everybody knew me. Everything was like, whatever. So if you're familiar with the projects, right, and you're familiar with that culture, you know that a lot of the homies, they get incarcerated, sometimes for like drug charges, sometimes for petty larceny, just like whatever the case may be. But a lot of the times, when you're living in a rough area and there's, you live in a project building. We had 16 floors in my projects, and each floor had 8 apartments. So you do the math. We were on top of each other like sardines. Like, that's how I grew up. So, the elevator was never working. And when the elevator was working, it was always full of pee. Like, it was just crazy. But it is what it is. So, boom, right? That's basically how I grew up. And the culture back then is, a lot of the times the big homies, they would get incarcerated. They would go do time in like Rikers or upstate or whatever the case may be. And then when they come back home, when they finally get parole and they're able to come back home, they show love and they do big celebrations. Like, homies coming home, so we're going to do a party. Like, literally, like, it's like a whole big thing. It's like a whole big celebration when one of the homies are coming home and they getting parole. So they get a party ready. And if you ever been to a party in the projects, yo, it's nothing like, they don't have them like that no more. So I'm glad that I grew up when I grew up, because I experienced stuff like that. Like, if you ever been to a party in the projects in Brownsville, oh, you already know how that party is ending. It's ending in gunshots, and it's ending with the cops rolling up and stopping the party on period. Like, yo, it's always something going on. And it's like a recipe for disaster, because let me tell you something. If you're familiar with Brownsville, Brownsville has liquor spots every single corner. It's like you see a corner store and then you see a liquor store right there. Corner store, you see a liquor store. And our liquor stores, you can't even go into the liquor store after a certain time. You have to order through the window. So you have to know what you want, and then you have to have your money ready. They're going to slide it through that revolving thing, and they're going to hand you your goods after you hand in that money. They are not playing with you, and that glass is bulletproof. So when that's open 24 hours and you got a party in the projects, and the projects is real small, yo, it's a recipe for disaster, because everybody's cheering because big homie came home and everybody's celebrating and he looking fly. And let me tell you something. And let's not even act brand new. When a man comes home after he's been incarcerated for a little bit, he comes back looking triple buff. You're like, I don't even know, but all that working out made a man change. So you looking a little brand new. So imagine that in combination with, like, he looking fly because everybody's getting him the latest outfits, because they showing him love because he just came home. So this is how the whole situation happened, and how I wound up going out of the window in the projects in Tilden because of this boy. So boom. This is the big homie. He had just came home, right? They were throwing a big party on the 6th floor, right? So I should have known it was a dub. I should have known that I shouldn't have gone because it was the 6th floor. But me and my homegirl, like my sister, like I love her to death, she was like, we all going. Like a couple of my homegirls, like we had a crew. So like we were all going, and they were like, forget it. Like, you good, you look good. We'll help you figure out an outfit. We'll help you with your makeup. Like, you good, we're gonna go. And I'm like, all right, F it, I'm gonna go, right? Because at this point, I was already living in her house for like 6 months already. Like, this is when I first got kicked out of my home when I was 13. I was like homeless for a couple of months, and then I started living with a homegirl of mine that I call my sister. And when I was living with her, that was basically in the projects, like close to where I was growing up in the projects. So, whatever the case may be. But that being said, like, I was already living with her at this point for a while, and it was just on the 6th floor, and they was like, nah, if we going, you going, and that's what it is. So we all going. So now this is the big homie. It's a celebration for him. There's liquor everywhere. Everybody got bottles. Everybody got bottles, because if you ever been to a project party, it's all about the flex. Everybody is pulling out all of their finest things that they went to down Pinkin and they got from, you know, let me tell you something. It's a whole thing. Like, honestly, I remember going with my homegirls to Rainbows and Pretty Girl. This is when Pretty Girl used to be a good store. If you are familiar with, like, stores in New York, Pretty Girl used to be the store, right? So all my homegirls, we used to go down Pinkin Avenue. We used to go to Pretty Girl, get dresses for, like, $3 back in the day. $3, trying to look grown and sexy. And this is back in the day when I was, like, wearing weaves. If you're familiar with that, my homegirls, they were doing, like, a weave on me with a leave out. So basically I would leave my top out, and then I would perm the top, and I would use, like, they would braid up all the sides of my hair, and then they would sew in the tracks. And I used to use Ultra Premium, the purple pack, in the color 2 and the color 4, because I wanted a lighter color in the bottom and a darker color on top to match my top. Yo, that's how you know it was a throwback. Please don't try me like I'm not from the hood. Like, please, please don't even try me. Like, I grew up there. So I remember going down Pinkin, doing my hair. I had the weave in and everything. I was feeling myself. I had the Chinese bang. That's when the Chinese bang was a thing. And I had the nerve to bump it. Like, it was bump, right? This is me acting grown. And mind you, yo, this is hilarious. And then, mind you, I'm wearing a $3 Pretty Girl dress, right? And we going up to the 6th floor. And I'm like, okay, let's go a little later, because I need to make sure that they drunk, because they know me. Like, I'm from this hood. Like, everybody know me. Like, but nobody really messed with me, because let's just say this, right? The one thing I could say about Brownsville, and the one thing I could say about the projects, is that people look out for you if you're from that projects. We had a big homie that was looking over our projects. Like, basically each project had a different set. You know, like, it was basically, okay, over there's the Crips, over here's the Bloods, like, over here's the Nietas, over here's the Latin Kings. Like, you knew your territories in the hood, right? So basically, we knew the big homie in our projects wasn't going to let anybody mess with any of us from our hood, because it's going to look bad on him. He's going to be like, yo, you can't even protect the people that live in your building, so we could really try you. And then that's when there's like a war. There's like a gang war, and you don't want that. When there's a gang war, you can't even go outside. Like, we had alarms in our school, in my elementary school. We had alarms where there were shootouts, and we had to duck under the chairs, because there was like a park right there, like a handball court, and there used to be a lot of shootouts in that handball court, because it was right there in the square, like where the projects. So whatever. All I'm saying is that that's the culture. So you imagine me, Ultra Premium. I had the nerve to have a Chinese bang. It was bumped. My eyebrows were not done. My eyebrows were not done. I had the nerve to allow my homegirl to do blue eyeshadow on me. She did blue eyeshadow on me, and I think I had like a pastel pink, like a rose petal pink dress that was for $3 from a Pretty Girl, and shoes from Rainbows for $3 because they were on clearance. Yo, when I tell you they set me up for it, they really did set me up for it. So boom. Now we're putting on these outfits. I'm feeling mad self-conscious. I'm like, nah. I don't know if I could do this. I don't know if I could do this. I don't know if I could do this. Right? So boom, here's the situation. They were drinkers. They were like drinkers for mad long. Like we were like 13, 14, 15, like all different area, like variations in ages, but none of us were like 17 and up, like none of us. So they were already drinking, and I never drank, right? So I was like, ooh, I don't know if I want to drink, or this, that, and the third, because I never drank before, and this, that, and the third. So boom, one of my homegirls, she was like, all right, so we gonna, you know, if you want to come get a little hit, and then we could go upstairs. So I was like, oh, this is gonna be my first time. Should I do it? Should I do it? Should I do it? So boom, we went to the half bath. If you're familiar with the projects and how the apartments are laid up, it doesn't matter how many bedrooms you have in an apartment in the projects, you are gonna have a full bath and a half bath, right? So the half bath is where the girls get ready, do their hair, and they do a little bit, right? So I went into the bathroom. We were all crammed in. I did a little hits. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I did this. Then we went upstairs. We took the elevator to the 6th floor, right? So now we're at the 6th floor. We come out. We already hear the music, right? Now, if you're familiar with parties in the projects, if you ever been to one, You know how like in a fancy house they have like dimmers, right? So you can like turn the dial and dim it and set the tone. In the projects, that ain't it, right? So you already know that there's a lot of stuff, and sometimes you go into an apartment where there's like 8 people living in one apartment and there's only 3 bedrooms. So there's an accumulation of a lot of stuff. So you know what they try to do in how they solve that problem is basically they just take and unscrew the light bulbs. So when you walk into a project party, it is pitch black. It is pitch black, pitch black, pitch black, pitch black. They're like, what you need to see for? What you need to see? And it is crowded. So now we in here trying to like cram in. And mind you, I was already at that age where I was getting like chest and stuff like this. And then on top of that, they made me wear a push-up bra that I got from Rainbows for $3 on clearance with the matching panty set. And it had my breast sitting like this. And they were like, girl, you know what you need to do? You need to go in there and pull it from the side. Pull it from the side there, and then pull the straps really, really high. So my breasts were like this, and I'm like, these girls are really trying to get me in trouble. But all right, whatever. We all doing it, so it is what it is. Now we in this crowded apartment. Everybody from the projects. Imagine there's 16 floors and there's 8 apartments on each floor. So everybody hearing about the big homie coming home. Everybody want to see him. Everybody want to give him a bit of their bottle. They want to show him love, like this, that, and the third. And I'm like, oh my God, it is mad packed here. I don't want to go in. I don't want to go in. I don't want to go in. But I was already in, and everybody's rubbing on top of each other, and it's so hot in there. It's so hot. It's so hot. So basically, as soon as you get in the projects, like as soon as you get into the apartment and you go to a project party, you got to go straight to the window. If you don't get a spot next to the window, you're going to be sweating out your hair. And by the end of the night, the top of your weave is going to be curly like this. And then this is going to be straight. So you're going to see this on top with straight hair. And you're going to look like this when they turn on the lights and they screw the light bulb. This is what your hair is going to look like. And you're going to be like, wow, why would you do me like this? Like, why would you do me like this? Why would you do me like this? Why would you turn on the light? You knew it was hot in here. You knew all of us had perms. Like, why would you do me like this? Yo, me weak. Yo, that's hilarious. Listen. This is mad hilarious. So, at this point, you know, that's the type of culture. So, everybody got bottles. Then at the table, they got bottles. And you know what? At the audacity, because he was coming home, you know what they had the nerve to get? They got trays of Chinese food from the corner spot of the Chinese food. They got chicken wings from the Chinese food. They got a tray of chicken wings. A tray of chicken wings in the hood back in the day was $10. You could get a tray of chicken wings from the Chinese store for $10, right? Like a big tray. And then a big tray of fried rice for like $10. So for $20, you could feed mad people. They give you the packets of the duck sauce. They give you sweet and sour sauce. They give you all of that, right? So now they got trays of food, and it so happened to be right next to the window. Now, me and my homegirls, we all like on the heavy set side, right? And we like, nah, now we can't sit next to the window, because if we sit next to the window, then we're going to be right next to the food, and then everybody at the party is going to be like, yeah, yo, look at those big girls over there sitting next to the food because they hungry. Like, because if you're familiar with Brownsville, like, everybody will clown you. They will cut you. Yo, let me tell you something. If you're not ready for the punches and you're not ready for them to come for you, and you got to come back. Like, if they try to come for you and they try to say something to you, you got to be quick with it. You got to be like, don't try to play me. Like, you can't let nobody sun you, basically. You can't let nobody sun you. And what that means is when somebody try you, you can't let nobody try you. Because the minute you let somebody try you and they look at you like you a clown, they're going to keep on, and they're going to keep on, and they're going to keep on. And then at that point, you're going to have to throw hands. And once you throw hands, you have 2 options. You got to really, really fight and make sure that you beat them up. Because if you don't, then you won't get the respect. Or if you get your ass handed to you, you got to keep getting up and fighting until you win. Because if not, that ain't gonna go down in history. Like, people will always remember you for that one time that you lost that fight. They'll be like, remember that time you got your ass whooped? And you'll be like, that was like 6 years ago. That was like 6 years ago. Come on, stop trying me. But I never got my ass handed to me, so we not talking about that. I never. Like, one time I had a fight. Like, yo, let me tell you something. We not talking about the time I had to fight for my life, but basically I really had to fight for my respect in my hood. Like, I really had to fight for my respect. Like, I could still go back to where I grew up at, and people would show me nothing but love, because they'll be like, damn, I haven't seen you in mad long. Like, you looking good. Yeah, because I fought for that respect. Like, nah, you ain't gonna try to hurt me when I come back from the hood. Like, nah, I always have love when I go back. Like, please. Whatever. So basically, we in the projects, we at the party, everybody's rubbing on each other, everything is hot. And like, basically, my homegirls leave me because they start dancing with boys and stuff. And now I'm just sitting right there and I'm like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? Boom. Big homie comes, approaches me. He's like, you new here, light bright. And I'm like, whatever, whatever, whatever. And I'm gonna be honest, I was the only light-skinned girl. I'm gonna be honest. I was the only light-skinned girl in the party, but whatever. It didn't matter. Like, why you try to do me like that? So, whatever. He called me light bright, and I was like, whatever. And I was like shy because, you know, at this point, like, I'm nervous. I'm like, yo, he will beat my, if he found out, or whatever the case may be. So I gotta be careful. So long story short, fast forward, he wind up like pulling me aside from the party. We wind up going to the hallway. And if you're familiar with the projects, there's like the front staircase, the back staircase. There's 4 type of staircases in the projects, depending how big your project building is. So in my particular one, we have 4 staircases. And in each staircase was 2 staircases. So it equaled 4. So there was like a front one and a back one, and then another one, front one and back one. So he pulled me out of the party eventually at the end of that and put me in one of the back hallways on, like, I would believe it was like the 11th floor, some random floor. And then he started talking to me privately and this, that, and the third and whatever. And that's how it started. And then basically he was like, I want you to come to my house. Like, my aunt is going to go out tomorrow to go play bingo. Nobody's going to be home. My grandmother's down south. You could come over, this, that, and the third. I just want to get to know you more on a more intimate level, this, that, and the third. And he was mad cute because he was mad buff, you know, like he was buff, like he just came home. And I'm like, okay, whatever, say less, I'm going to go, right? I'm going to risk it, I'm going to go because I don't know, whatever. So, boom, he knew the deal. It is what it is. So now, I'm in his apartment, right? Basically, I'm in his apartment, but it's not his apartment. It's his aunt's apartment and his grandmother's apartment. So now I'm in his apartment, and now we in his room. He's playing Call of Duty because they got him all the latest games. So now he's playing games. Mind you, we're not doing nothing. I'm just watching him play games, and I'm like, and then how do you go from playing games to then you want to put your hand on my lap? And I'm like, how you went from 0 to 1,000? Like, you was just shooting mad people. Now you want to try to rub up on me? Like, yo. And then at this point, that's when you hear the rustling of the keys. And I'm like, oh, my God, oh, my God. And he's like, no, that's somebody next door, and that's somebody next door. And then we heard the rustling of the doorknob, and he's like, oh my God, that's my aunt, that's my aunt, that's my aunt. Mind you, he live on the 3rd floor, right? So he's like, yo, there's an AC unit right underneath my window. Like, just crawl out the window and hold on to the ledge. And then when she leave, like, that, I'll sneak you out. Like, I'll sneak you out. Just please. Like, my aunt would freak. She would flip out. I'm not supposed to have anybody here, this, that, and the third. So now I'm like, yo, I can't believe that I'm doing this. So now I had to crawl out the window, and I'm sitting on the ledge of the AC unit, and I'm holding with my fingertips like this. And I'm like, why did I come over here? You know what I'm saying? Like, you ever been in a predicament in your life where you start to question all your life decisions, and you're like, what series of events that I like, or choices that I made that landed me to cause me to be in this situation right now? So now I'm hearing his aunt going in like, I feel like I heard somebody. You got some girl in here. You better not get nobody pregnant. You just came home. You trying to get your life together. She going in on him. She is ripping him one. And he's like, nah, like chill. Like trying to get her out the room, At this point, my toes are slipping, right? And then I'm like, you ever have that moment where you're like, okay, if I fall, if this happens and this is how it goes, you ever have that moment where you're just like, if like you don't know the outcome, I could have either died, I could have either broke something really serious. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was so scared. I was so scared in that moment. But I couldn't be mad at anybody but myself because I took my little grown ass over there. And I shouldn't have went over there. So that's my fault, you know? Even as a child, I was like thinking like an adult. You know, we don't think about the consequences of our decisions, right? We sit there, we just want to think in the moment and we want to make a decision because it's fun in the moment, but not thinking about the consequences and all the variables to the situation. So I couldn't be mad at anybody but myself. A little bit at him too, but I couldn't be mad at anybody but myself. So as my toes started slipping and my fingers started slipping and they started to get weak, I fell back. And I landed in the bushes. I landed in the bushes. Like, I landed in the bushes mad hard and I got stuck in the bushes. And if you ever been stuck in a bush, like in the middle of the bush, and you have to try to get out, it like everything hurts and it's like tearing up your flesh. And you're like, yo, this is the universe teaching me a lesson. This is the universe saying, yo, sit your grown behind down and stop acting like you know what you're doing. And this is what happens. And I went right across the street and I went right up in that elevator, and I went up to the house and I act like I was asleep, like nothing happened. And that's basically the full story of how I fell out the window. Because I was acting grown. All right. How do y'all like my story? Did y'all like it today? You loved it? All right. So let's do the Q&A questions. You tell a great story. Do I tell a great story? I hope I didn't embarrass myself. Did I see the guy after that? Multiple times. But not in the way you think. I just saw him because he lived, you know, he lived in Brownsville. You see everybody, you know. All right. So can I get some questions from the audience? Can I get some questions from the audience? Loved it. Brought memories when I grew up. You love my stories. I love you guys. Would you reach out to any of these people now? I have nothing but love for my sister till this day. No blood necessary to say that. Would I have contact with him? No. No, please. Ew. He does not look the way he looked when he first came home. I'll say that. He got home and I don't know what happened. No, I wasn't trying to avoid him. You don't allow anybody to put fear in your heart, because the minute they know that you avoiding them, they have power over you. That's the first mistake you make in the projects. You don't do that. You're weak. You weak if you do that. Nah, you can't do that. You can't be weak like that, because then they're going to try you. You a clown now. Nah, you don't do that. Y'all have any other more questions? Yo, I'm obsessed with the buttons on my sweater. I'm obsessed with these. They're mad cute. I can't tell you a full story time. I'm answering questions. Think about a short question. They could be juicy, but I can't do like another full story time because it's already 28 minutes. We are going to just a Q&A questions. Did he know your situation? Yes, he did. VJB 1976. Just Shamira, what's your spirit animal? Sometimes I think I'm a dog, but sometimes I think I'm a cat because I love taking naps. Like, oh my God. If I could be if I'm comfortable and I feel cozy and I have something to cuddle, I could take a nap like this. just lounge like a cat nap. So sometimes I think, maybe am I a cat? I don't know. I have this cat from Milky Way. All right. What floor was it? Why you want to know what floor it was? You know, I always wonder why people want to know like very specific details. I said the 6th floor, but it wasn't the 6th floor in reality. Would I ever try to be with a woman? You know how many women approach me? So more women approach me than men. I will say that. In my life of living in this earth, since I hit puberty, more women hit on me more than men. All the time. All types of women hit on me. Like corporate America women, women of all shapes and sizes, women of all colors. Like honestly, there was like this real, like, she looked like a Stepford housewife. She was blonde, blue eyes. She drove a BMW SUV, and she wore like khakis with like a blouse, and she had on these Tory Burch slides, the Tory Burch slide-on shoes. Like, she looked very nice, and she had a Louis Vuitton Neverfull bag with a trench coat. Real beautiful, like real. But she looked like very like she's a wife, and she has 3 children, and she takes them to soccer, but she also has a successful business herself. She was like, I just have to tell you, you're so beautiful. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, really? And she was like, yes. She was like, I don't know if you noticed, but I followed you a couple of aisles because I had to say something to you, and I was just trying to get your attention. I was like, oh my God. Who is this Rebecca trying to come on me? Please. Why is you acting like this? She was really trying to come on to me hard. And then remember that couple, that tattoo model? She was beautiful. I've never seen a woman so beautiful in my life. Oh my God. I don't know if I shared the story about the time that I went to Lowe's. It was Lowe's. And these tattoo couples were trying to get me to do a throuple. Oh my God. Let me tell you something. She was mad beautiful. Let me tell you how beautiful she was. I was in Lowe's looking at paint because I was like, okay, I'm going to get a white paint because I'm going to do the glitter wall. I noticed her because she was so beautiful. She was that type of beautiful that you had to look. Like, it don't matter if you into women or not, you have to look at her. That's how beautiful and banging her body is, and her face and everything about her. She was mad tall. That's what I noticed about her. She had sneakers, and she was taller than me, right? Her shape was naturally, because you could tell when somebody's shape is natural because her stomach wasn't like hard flat, but it wasn't jiggly flat either. It was like taut. Like the skin was taut. And her curve was like, and then her hips, and then her butt was like an apple. Like, it was like boom, boom. And then she had the arch, and then her thighs matched the calves. She was bad, like bad, covered in tattoos. She was tall with like nice, like dirty blonde hair. And then she had like these like hazel green eyes. She was beautiful, covered in tattoos. Beautiful. And I'm not like into women sexually, but beautiful woman. I'm looking at paint, talking to somebody on the phone, and she's like, I just wanted to tell you you're really beautiful. And I was like, you know when somebody take your breath away when they in person, like close to you? You ever like had somebody take your breath away when you saw them up close? Because they're like more beautiful. Like, I've never met Rihanna, and I'm going to meet her one day. And I feel like the day I meet her, I'm going to be like, I'm not going to know what to say because she's going to be so beautiful up in person. But like, she was so beautiful up in person, and I had to look up at her. She made me feel petite. That is rare. I am a tall, strong woman. Look at this. Tall. This torso is thick. She made, oh my God, live and living color. I broke my nail again. But it's okay. I got crazy glue in my bag, and I'm going to just glue it right here. again. So tomorrow you're going to see me with this nail fixed. Ooh, that hurt a little bit. But look, it kept my nail intact. It was a clean cut because it already broke there before and I already glued it back 2 times. This is going to be the 3rd time I glue it back. But we're going to keep going on until they fall off. I'm going to see how long they last. You know how Tiffany had it? She's always wearing that white dress by Christian Siriano that she wore. And she like remixes it. That's going to be me with these nails. They're going to be hanging off the tips like this. And I'm going to be like, ew, they is still hanging. Yo, I'm done. All right, and she was covered in tattoos. And on top of that, her man was mad sexy. Her man was covered in tattoos. He had a nice thick beard. And he was like, you got to her before me, I see. And I was like, oh my God, this is happening. This is happening. This is happening. I was blown away. I was blown away. I felt honored. Like, I didn't take them up on their offer, but I felt very, very honored that these 2 beautiful specimens were looking at me like they wanted me. They wanted me. Looking like this, they wanted me. I was like, okay. And I wanted to tell her, like, you know I got stretch marks and I never had kids. Like, you know, somebody told me, all right, so I used to talk to this guy, right? And he was like, why don't you take your shirt off? And I was like, I don't know, because I got a stomach. And he was like, just take your shirt off. And I don't care. I don't care. I don't even care. I don't even care. I don't even care. Don't even act brand new. I am not the only one that will be like trying to get intimate with somebody and leave my shirt on because I feel self-conscious. We've all done it. And then we do one of those awkwards where we just like lift it up like this and we're like all of it? You want me to take all of it off? And you're like, can I just leave it like behind my neck? And you trying to make an excuse to keep the shirt on because you don't want to take your shirt off because you got stretch marks. And for me, because I'm light-skinned, my stretch marks are like mad red and they look aggressive. You know, when they first start, they look aggressive. They look like Freddy Krueger just went like this. He was like, I have you in your dreams. And I be having nightmares on top of that. So I'm like, yo, low-key, Freddy Krueger, are you cutting me up in the middle of the night? Because if you are, like, at least take me out on a date. You know what I'm saying? Don't even act like y'all low-key wasn't a little bit attracted to Freddy Krueger. Like, in a weird way. Like, he looked like he had a nice body. I like horror films. And don't even act like Jason wasn't mad tall. Like, if Jason wasn't a killer, you would look at him and be like, wow, you mad tall. You cute a little bit. Also, Michael Myers. If he wasn't a killer, you would look at him and be like, he's mad cute. Also, like Ted Bundy. Like, please. I'm not saying that I'm attracted to murderers. Like, no way. Like, I'm not even saying that. But, like, you didn't low-key think about that a little bit when you was a kid? Like, yo, if he wasn't a killer, would he look cute? Was I the only one looking at these, like, these killers? Like, if he wasn't a killer, would he look cute? All right, whatever. Y'all acting brand new. And y'all making me feel bad about saying this. Y'all making me feel bad about saying it. All right, what's another question? Let's make this an even 40 minutes. My celebrity crush when I was young was David Boreanaz because I grew up watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer and I grew up watching Angel. So David Boreanaz used to do it for me really bad. Like, I used to love him. It was something about his squinty eyes. It was something about his, like, defined jawline. It was just something about that, like, copper bronze hair. He was so beautiful to me. It was definitely, oh my God. But there was a brief moment where I was totally attracted to Spike. Do y'all remember Spike? Oh my God, I was like low-key attracted to Spike, like at some point in my life where I was like, okay, hold on, David Boreanaz. Spike might got a little something over there that I might want. And I could see why Buffy was going over there, sniffing over there to try to see what was up because he looking a little scrum-diddly-umptious over there. And I might just making my little lemon wedge in my water. Because, you know, he had the platinum blonde hair. It was the bleach. It was the bleach hair for me. It was the bleach hair for me. What's my favorite type of heels? The ones I can't afford. I wish I had a pair of Miu Mius. I wish I had a pair of Louboutins. I wish I had a pair of Prada heels. I wish I had a pair of Yves Saint Laurents. I wish I had a pair of Hermes. I wish I had a pair of YSL boots. I wish I had a pair of Balenciaga boots. Those are my favorite type of heels. And that's true. You know, your favorite type of stuff in the world is the things you can't afford right now. Please cook whenever you're able to. Love when you're in your element. Guys, a lot of you have been asking for cooking shows, and that is so surprising because that was the one segment on my channel that I felt the most self-conscious about. It was really hard to cook outside in front of the camper. I was fighting a lot of elements. I was fighting the mosquitoes. I was fighting the flies. I was fighting all elements. Lack of running water, lack of like everything. It was hard cooking outside, and I felt very self-conscious. I was like, wow, like I'm making a fool of myself and I don't know what I'm doing and this, that, and the third. And I felt really bad about it, and I was like, I'm not gonna do cooking no more. Like I really went through a time where I was like, I'm not gonna do cooking no more because I don't feel confident in my cooking abilities because of what happened. But to see all of y'all asking for cooking segments really, really makes me feel good. It makes me feel like, wow, okay, you guys see me, and I love that. I think that's what made it so awesome. And going to the supermarket, you guys love when I go out places. Oh my God. Would y'all like it if I did a Starbucks review on a Starbucks drink? Because somebody told me to try a white chocolate, hot chocolate with a chai tea. And don't make fun of the way I say chocolate, all right? So don't even act like that. They said to try a white chocolate, hot chocolate with organic, with a chai tea bag. And that's what I want to try. And I want that to be, I want to try that Starbucks drink. So I could do a review on that. Oh my God, I can't wait for Christmas because I can't wait. I'm officially doing Vlogmas. You heard it here first. For the whole month of December, I will be doing vlogs. You might get them late every single day, but I'll do vlogs. What do the other residents think? Well, this is the first time that one has heard me, and I'm nervous. I can't wait to fix my nail because it's giving me separation anxiety. It's like, okay, I get it. We have to social distance, but I don't want to social distance from my nail. If you're decorating your next home, what type of colors you want to use? I want to have my home, when I finally get my dream home, I want my home to be filled with lots of textures from nature. I want to have exposed bark. I just want to have elements from nature. I want to have natural canvas. I want to have natural fibers. I want just everything to have a natural, I want to feel like the outside is inside in my home. I am not staying here long enough to do that skillet one. I have to leave soon. At 13, I did. Oh my God, I was supposed to say the name. Shalonda J. At 13, I did. Have I ever seen people use tree leaves as wall art? No. All right, guys. Well, look, I have to use the restroom. And how do y'all feel about the first ever Talks with MEESHEE? Okay, can you do a video where you try to beat your face like a full face makeup? Yes. Oh, wait, I'm showing too much cleavage. What am I going to do with the rest of my day? I'm going to figure out how to conquer the world, Pinky. Pinky used to be like, what are we going to do today? What we do every day. Try to take over the world. Well, I love you guys for joining me on the pilot episode of Talks with MEESHEE. So until next time, bendiciones. And I'm going to go off and fix my nail.